Okay, hello to everyone. Welcome to WayCraft. Together we are. This episode is little special for me because earlier I actually bring in guests who are almost related to my field. And I had a very easy conversation getting into their own life and understanding their own journey. And this episode, possibly starting from this episode, it's kind of an inner journey for me also because I'm bringing in my friend Prasanna Venkatesh, as we call CB. Okay, he is in a pure corporate field. So I thought I should dress like a corporate. So for a change. So that being said, this is a journey where I am putting myself under a test to understand the other side of life, which I have not seen much. Because being in my profession, being in business very early, and then being in business for almost 3 decades, I've been managing employees, I've been managing corporates, I've been managing, but I have never drilled down into a person who is deeply embedded in corporate life. And that too, Prasanna Venkatesh comes from a field which is, for me, it is fairly new. We will get to know from him whether it is new or it is already there. He comes from cybersecurity background. So, cybersecurity is something which we guys come to know about it only if some of our system did not work. And it is so pertinent and it is so linked that when CB is here, we had technical glitches and he was able to fix that like this. So he just said, give me 2 minutes. He just vanished and he came back. Everything was perfect. So we will actually get to know how his thought process is going on, you know, how technical people think. We will not talk about his cybersecurity corporate life per se, but how he is adapting himself, his mind, his thinking, his decision making to help facilitate the role that he is currently doing and also to educate us on how we should be probably looking into our own inner journey if we are put in a different profiles as we grow up in life. So with this as a starting connoisseur of introduction, let me welcome Prasanna Venkatesh, or as we call CB. Welcome. Thank you for giving your time. Welcome to WayCraft Show.
Thank you so much, Satish, for that round of introduction. It is truly a privilege to be part of your podcast. I consider it as an absolute honor because I love being part of podcasts and I like sharing my journey across the corporate world, like you rightly mentioned. And it's a true pleasure to be part of a podcast and your podcast, especially WayCraft, which has established itself in the market, and you have a deep presence with the web. And in the sense, I have noticed some of your. In fact, yesterday I was watching one of your podcasts to understand more about what you have to offer and what the guests share from their perspective and things like that. So it's a true privilege to be here. I'm totally excited to share my insights and to discuss more with you.
Oh, perfect. CB, we have this normal tradition of just asking you to introduce about your professional life.
Mhm.
Just take a couple of minutes to introduce to the audience your professional life because
Right.
post that we will not be talking about professional life. So
Absolutely.
yeah, just take a couple of minutes to introduce you, what you are doing, why you are doing, how long you are doing, etc. So
Yeah, I started my career way back in the year 2004. That was a time when I just completed my undergraduation from one of the premier institutes in Tamil Nadu. After finishing my undergraduation, I joined one of the big corporate brands here in Chennai. So before I started the journey, I had a brush with an interesting art form that is called writing English poetry. So
wow.
how it transpired was something is really interesting when I look back and I recall that incident. During one interesting lecture, to prevent myself from falling asleep, I started scribbling something on my notepad. And lo and behold, emerged a form of art which shook me by surprise.
Oh my God.
It turned out to be English poetry, which was strangely surprising because I've never had any interest in writing English poetry till that point in time. neither have I experimented till that date. So I was so surprised to see a poem emerging out of nowhere, and that's when my first interest in writing poetry started emerging. So I would actually brand myself as a poet turned IT professional. I'm
Wow.
not a quote unquote IT professional, so to speak. I'm more of a creative person. I write poetry. I write, of course, I'm quite active on LinkedIn where I post my newsletters and share my insights on different topics like technology, business, and leadership. Satish.
Lovely. I also have a stint on, uh, I wouldn't call it as a poetry, but in those
Hmm.
days when I was doing it, it was called as verse writing.
Okay,
Okay. So the reason why I took up verse writing is because that was my weak point.
right.
Um, I was considered a very good sportsman. I was considered a very good, uh, not a good student academically, but not a bad student also.
Hmm.
I move along with everybody. Uh, Probably from those days itself, the diplomacy was there in me, where I was able to gel with the juniors, seniors, teachers, principal, dean.
Right.
Wherever I go, I somehow manage to get a direct connect with the topmost management.
Wonderful.
But my biggest negative way was English.
Right.
Uh, uh, Even now it is only broken, but still those days it was very poor. So the I always have this habit of putting myself under test. Even today, every time I write a book, I am the subject of
Right.
putting myself in it. So I started writing just like how you wanted to prevent from sleeping. I wanted to write as if when I write something, I also by heart it my way. So that
Right.
in case if I'm talking to you, I'm
Hmm.
lost of words, I will
Right.
start quoting my poem. So
Absolutely.
that's how the verse writing started, and very happy. I didn't know this, but that's what WayCraft does to all of us. Some
Right.
new things that emerge out of it. We should write a poem right in this program. uh,
Amazing, Satish.
yeah.
Good to know.
Okay. So now let's keep aside the professional line. Okay.
Right.
You are from the proper engineering kind of an education, or probably your undergraduation is linked to what you're doing, things like that. Was there a point where during your early journey,
Hmm.
CB, you felt that I don't belong here?
Well, I think that's a fantastic question. Uh, so the sense of belongingness never set in during this time I started my career journey.
And what
So
was your first journey? Means like you were a software engineer, something like
yeah, I
that?
was a software engineer, and all
Okay,
through my professional experience, I've been a software professional.
okay, okay.
So my the first stint was really I would say overwhelming. I would say because fresh offices, lush teakwood cabins welcomed me with outstretched arms. And I was
Wow.
completely at awe when I looked into the office premises, and never have I seen this kind of a corporate setup before. So I was totally enthused about going to work every single day. More than it being a true calling, I would say it was more of a eye opener. I would say it's more like a welcome sign and a breath of fresh air. I would want to put it that way. So, more than saying it is more of a true calling, I would say I really enjoyed my time in the office premises every single day, and a lot of other fun stuff like good food and excellent camaraderie between co-workers, understanding the corporate setup. All this actually started helping me in a big way to groom my professional persona.
And what was the day when it was kind of difficult? Was there a day where you questioned yourself, and what happened that day? Anything that you can remember?
As they say, the energy level dips down during noon time, especially after lunch. So
Right.
that's when I started questioning myself whether I'm in the right profession, because I'm normally having the habit of taking a nap during lunchtime, and especially after a sizable meal, if I would put it that way. And that's the time when my the creative juices started sinking in, and I normally wasn't very active during the time, especially during the peak hours, the lunchtime and things like that. So
Mhm.
I started to question myself. But interestingly, there were some offices where I used to work. They had these dorm facilities
Yeah.
where I used to sneak peek into the dorm, take a nap for
Power
about
nap. Yeah.
5 minutes, power nap for 5, 10 minutes or 15 minutes if that's the case. And ironically, the dorms are almost like fully occupied. It's
Yeah.
hard to get a space to sleep
Yeah.
even in the dorm.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting insight if I were to recall and reflect on my
Absolutely. Yeah. I also truly believe in power naps. I
right.
don't take it myself, but I offer it to my employees right from the day one when I started.
Hmm.
Because uh, I come from a deep reading background. So, whenever I read about Japanese, whenever I read about all the importance that they give for the Southeast Asian or Japanese culture, where they give importance to this quick 20 minutes power nap,
Sure, sure.
I truly believe that it is definitely is something which can actually reboot and re-energize your own, stress level or trauma level, or probably give you something. So that's amazing. But I want to probably ask you one thing before that. So all your education was also in Chennai, or you were?
No, my education schooling was in Chennai, whereas my undergrad it was in Tanjore. I studied in Sastra. Now it's called Sastra.
Yeah,
Earlier it used to
university.
be called as Shanmuga College of Engineering,
Yes.
affiliated to Bharatidasan University.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm a
good.
product of
That
Sastra.
that makes my next question little valid.
Hmm.
A person who has actually come out of a college from Chennai, okay, has a good communication, but not so good in productivity. I'm not going to
Right.
brand it, I'm not going to bring a controversy out of it, but
Hmm.
that's how it was actually perceived at some point in time. To a factor, it was relevant because
Hmm.
generally people who are actually coming with a fire in the belly actually has more productivity for that one. After you join, now I'm just going through a little higher version of your life.
Hmm.
You have now become a team leader, not the manager level or the level that you are in right now. Just the
Right.
first jump. Okay.
Right.
And then now you are given a team which
Hmm.
you are supposed to take a team. Okay. And that's when, which CB that you will choose. The CB of the Chennai or CB of Tanjore to be your own team. If you have to become a recruiter, and then there is another avatar of yourself who is coming for the interview itself, which
Right.
version of CB that you would prefer?
Fabulous. So I would prefer the CB of Tanjore, especially the CB who spent time in the undergraduation days, especially in the Sastra campus. The reason why I would do that is because of an interesting recall again from a
Yes.
memory that happened way back in the year 2002, 3. So I was part of the hostel cricket team, and this is an
Mhm.
interesting story. We reached the finals of the hostel cricket tournament, and I was instrumental in scoring the maximum runs during the final year tournament, and we we clinched the trophy in the final year cup. So there was excellent camaraderie, and there was bond homie, and people were high-fiving, and there was so much bonding that happened between the team players and the cricket team that we formed at that point in time was one of the greatest memories that's still etched in our time. And I would say that since there was so much camaraderie that existed in our team, the bonding was so good. I would probably pick that sentiment and emotion, and I will try putting that into action when it comes to reflecting into the current team. The reason is when you are having great camaraderie, teamwork becomes dream work
Yes.
because the underlying principle of any teamwork is bonding and camaraderie. And if this is evident while the team is performing or showing productivity, signs of improvement, I think that will be a great way to start. So I'll start with that sentiment of recalling from my previous incident of having clinched the trophy in the hostel cricket tournament in Sastra. So I would always recall and reflect back into that emotion so that I'll be able to bring that same sense of courage and conviction while I'm
Perfect.
handling a team.
This one thing I really like about this Waycraft, because we don't have any format, I have not prepared anything, is because while
Mhm.
we talk, new versions emerged. Uh, I introduced like a corporate, and then a poet came, and now a cricket player coming in. Okay. Uh, uh, l- Coincidentally, last week, one of my companies, we had a very
Hmm.
busy week where uh, uh, we had similar kind of a discussion. So I
Okay.
thought I will ask that question to you right now because it is pertinent enough. Being a sportsman, how far has it contributed to your personal life? Forget about professional. Okay,
Like,
being a and if there was a contribution, what was the contribution? I don't need to know the situation, but on a personality trait, being a sportsman, how far it shaped your life?
absolutely. So I think a sportsman is always having a spirit of resilience, be it any sport for that matter.
Yeah,
And cricket taught me that a sense of built in a sense of resilience in my psyche.
yeah,
One of the best experience that I can again recollect is during the time of the COVID pandemic, wherein I was in between jobs, and there was a time that I was actually searching for a good opportunity in the corporate world. But I didn't lose my momentum. I didn't
right,
lose my sense of balance, or I didn't lose my spirit of uh, the conviction that I had in my head. That experience behind me really helped to carry forward the momentum for my job search. So, hadn't I not been part of the cricket team, or hadn't I not experienced such a great sense of exhilaration during the time that I won the cricket tournament, probably I might not have been able to be in the same state of existence during the time I was searching for a job. So every time I'm getting into a new experience or wanting to learn a new skill or wanting to try something absolutely new from the scratch, this experience always pushes me to explore the new frontiers. So I would always give credit to the great experience that I had in my past, which will always act as a propeller to catalyze the situation and also improve the outcome if that is a possibility.
absolutely. CB, whatever that you have explained right now, okay, uh, nobody can explain it better. There is a concept called neuroplastic elongation.
Absolutely.
Okay, what you explained right now is the best fitting description of that word.
Sure.
So every sportsman, without even realizing, okay, we were all practicing neuroplasticity for years.
Right.
Okay, and I would certainly definitely quote this example whenever I'm going to explain neuroplastic elongation to others. So you have given me a wonderful explanation for neuroplastic elongation. Okay, great.
Incredible.
So now the sportsman is there, the poet is there. There is now let's talk about this. One question keeps coming to me again and again whenever this cyber security. Okay.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be brutally wrong also.
Hmm.
I'm sure this is not like a 20-year or 25-year-old concept or something like that. Maybe like when you were reading when you were maybe starting your career or probably mid-range of career.
Hmm.
I am assuming this is kind of new, possibly, mid-level, maybe 10 years, something like that, or maybe more. I don't know. But there I'm just assuming there would have been a situation where your your corporate life has actually taken into this particular field. Okay.
Right.
So during that field, I'm just assuming it was more like a gamble that you took. If at all, I have to probably use a word called that. The first question is something like that happened? If so, take me through not a corporate thinking, take me through the inner thinking on how hard was for you to leave something which was there a couple of years and
Right.
then take a new train which was absolutely you don't know where the destination is, you don't even know what is the name of the train, you just have to jump in because the whole world says this is the future. is
Right.
is my understanding right or wrong?
No, your understanding is absolutely right. I took this decision with a leap of faith to get into the world of cybersecurity. That's absolutely right. But the best part is it was way back in 2010. I will answer both your questions as a single answer or single response, if I would say. The best part was in 2010 when I leapfrogged into a new domain, cybersecurity.
Okay.
There was a time when a company called Palladian Networks took the decision to hire me. Now it is called Atos International, and Paladin was later acquired by Atos International. I'm truly grateful to Paladin Networks because they gave me a wonderful window of opportunity to explore the field of cybersecurity. That's when my first break actually happened. Prior to that, I was into process and quality assurances, different functions related to audit and compliance. So there is some sort of relation between process and quality and cybersecurity. How I would draw a parallel is when you say processes in the world of process and quality consulting, it's called controls in IT security. And audits, more or less, it's similar. We draft similar security index and also process and quality index in the process world. So both are sort of similar in the way that they are structured. So for me to adapt to cybersecurity from process function, it was quite easy. And within no time, was able to get into the field of my chosen interest in the field of cybersecurity. And actually speaking, the best part was it was more of a serendipity. Though I had made a conscious decision to get into the world of cybersecurity, but hadn't Paladin hired me during that point in time in 2010, I wouldn't have probably stepped into this domain of cyber. But interestingly, if we can recall, primitive tribes had the habit of protecting their own tribe. So even forget the word cyber, but security was always in existence in time and immemorial. So even in Esther years or olden times, tribes and groups of people, they were fighting hard to protect their own clan. So security has always been of paramount importance, no matter which age or which time that we are in, except for the fact that since we are in the digital world or in the AI world, if we are in that we can probably term it as today's existence, the word cyber has been plugged into the word security. But security has always been a cause of concern, or probably a sense of importance has been there since the time has existed. So cybersecurity is a very interesting field, and it assumes the highest importance because of the various threat factors that are emerging in today's landscape.
Absolutely. Let me, most of it, what you said went above my head. So the point what I was actually liking is that, yes, leap of faith, process
Right.
oriented,
Right.
and then we have the innate nature of protecting our own. Okay. So this three, I'm going to take this and then I'm going to ask you this question. After coming into cybersecurity, you as a person, forget about professional life, you as a person have become more cautious or have you become more aware per se, or have you become more panicked? Are you the one who is going to change password every 30 days?
Right. I would say I've become more cognizant of my existence, my transactions. Being more aware is the right word, right? As you rightly mentioned. I wouldn't say I would panic, or probably it's not like a knee-jerk reaction every single time that I hear something different out of the blue, or something which makes us panic, right? I mean, I always try my best to maintain my cool at all situations, unless it's a threatening one way beyond my perception. So I would say I become more vigilant, right? I mean, because of this profession, I don't trust anything at the first instance.
Yes.
I do my due diligence, I do my research, and I do my introspection to find out if it's really legit. And
Have that also came into your personal life? Not trusting at the first instance.
yes, I mean, to some extent. See, since the world is filled with so many interesting conversations and transactions, I would say that the digital footprint really helps. So when I get into a conversation with any person, I would like to check in their social handle or digital footprint, how well they're equipped to make an impact in the outside world through their digital presence, how well they are, has their contribution to the industry been obvious, as a contribution to their academia been obvious. I look into these factors, and this really helps in helping me introspect more about myself and also the people that I'm interacting with.
Perfect. What then if life has to go this way? You know, like I'm now actually seeing two different hemisphere here. Okay. So I'm a person who has knee-jerk reaction. And
Right.
I believe every damn person, even if somebody is going to cheat me, I will actually believe him even the next time.
Okay.
Okay. And I have the concept of verification or something like that has never existed in my life till now
Sure.
here. Okay. So my next point is, if older CB has to come in a time travel, okay, and then if he's seeing you right now,
Hmm.
okay, give us something. If whatever is there coming to your mind, let us know. Okay, what is the two or three things which he will like, and what are the two three things he will absolutely regret?
Wow. So the best part is when the old CB comes and sees a new evolved version of the person that he used to be, he would first be awestruck because
Okay.
CB, the old one, was playful, joyful. Not to mean that he's not at this stage, but to
Hmm.
be more precise, the young CB was more vivacious and
Hmm.
exuberant and always looking for the new opportunity or things like that. But the new CB happens to be more self-aware, more cognitive, more introspect. I mean, the person who introspects more, things like that. So he will first, at the first instance, he'll be shocked at the same time be surprised, but he will look at awe and wonder because the person whom he's seeing right now in front of him has evolved with time, has matured with age, and he has taken personal responsibility for many things that's happened to him and his life. So he'll definitely thank the universe for having granted him the opportunity to scale and leverage the new opportunities that came his way.
Amazing. See, you used amazing some words, self-aware,
Like,
introspection,
mhm.
calculated. Uh, I am now thinking of asking this question. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to put it rightly or not. If you're not able to understand, let me know. Um, does this calculated method of self-awareness, introspection, planned action, taking more responsibility, are these to reduce your vulnerability, or are these to hide your vulnerability?
I would say it is more to reduce your vulnerability because as humans, we are prone to become vulnerable during our interactions with the outside world.
Yeah.
So it actually gives us the tools and techniques to become self-aware, more vigilant of what's happening in the outside world, and to understand whether what we are doing is right or not, to justify the actions, and also to really calibrate our moves, not to get worked up during the process, but also to understand how we can become better at the process of what we are doing at the stage in life.
And is this a personality shift or character shift, or it is just a attitude shift?
I would say it's an attitude shift. It's more of a mindset shift that has to happen because I don't think it's anything to do with your character or even your personality. It's more to do with your attitude. It's more of a mindset shift that actually comes into existence.
And when the mindset changes,
Right?
what do you think? If a mindset changes from A to B,
Hmm.
okay, there are good things happening, there are bad things happening. Is there a evolution of human character also? The base
Definitely.
the base point varies. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. See, when you are actually improving from point A to point B, you'll always look at yourself and revert back to the earlier state and check if you have definitely evolved with time. And this evolution is a slow and gradual process. It doesn't happen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to note that this stage of evolution is always helping you to be in touch with the current trends in life. And are you in alignment and incongruence with whatever is happening around us and also within us?
And how far such calculated things help or hinder the personal life?
Now, I believe it will help in you succeeding in your personal life because
Right.
to do many things in personal life, be it now the world of professional and personal is all blurring altogether because the world of work has completely changed after the pandemic. The way people look at their work and their profession has also changed by a great deal. So I would say that when it comes to personal life and personal well-being, it really helps because if you look at improving yourself every single day, even if it's a delta improvement, a small improvement in whatever you're doing, be it your personal life or your professional life, the best part is to remain calm and being patient. Being calm and being patient always helps even during times of crisis, and be it your profession or even your personal life. Maintaining your calm always helps us to stay centered in whatever we are doing, and also it gives us a sense, a semblance of humility. You stay grounded, and you learn to appreciate the situation better. I
Absolutely.
would, yeah, that's really helpful even dealing with
Yeah,
times of
the
difficulty.
the point what you're actually talking is even from the psychology perspective, that is called as
Sure,
neurostill. Okay,
correct, correct.
neurostill is basically, in between two different mindsets. If you take a small pause, you can actually
Mhm.
control the movement between where you are and where you want to go. So beautifully
Absolutely.
said. And I want to actually take one word which you said. Like while you were explaining this, you said there is a blurring a link between what is the work life and the personal life. Okay. The way the words you said, the way people started seeing the work has completely changed, before pandemic and after pandemic. Uh, uh, are you referring to something like, work from home or something like that? What was this change? Work is a work. What was how did the way of seeing the work has changed?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. The best part is before pandemic, the world was more extrinsic, right? People were continuously on the search for something external to validate their achievements. The world was more external focused. But what pandemic really did to all of us, all through the globe, is that everybody started looking inward, be
Mhm.
it their personal lives or even be it their quest for any spirituality, or it could be doing deep insights into their human psyche, because people were forced to stay indoors. People were forced into solitude, and nobody was allowed to interact with the outside world for a long period of time, at least for a year or even more than that, if I'm able to recollect that. I'm sure you will agree. So
Mhm.
the best part is people weren't allowed to interact with the outside world. This actually made them go deeply inward, and some became very spiritual in the process. Some started questioning life, whether we are the right path, and some even took a different detour in their professional lives. They started getting into newer forms of livelihood, if that is the case. So this actually shifted the entire global order, because the pandemic was a challenge for sure. But what pandemic has done in a positive way is that people started understanding themselves more. They become more self-aware, and they became more cognitive. And the world order has completely shifted because of the pandemic. And the main reason is whether you go to work or you work from home, it doesn't really matter. People are more clear about what their priorities are in this stage, and they are more conscious of their decisions. They don't take hasty calls and hasty moves. They don't make hasty moves. So this is what the pandemic has done to the entire globe. It has
Perfect.
shifted the world order. That's what I would say.
Lovely. Now I'll take you are now in the senior management of in the field of cyber security. You've given years of experience. Okay.
Sure.
From your eyes, let's start addressing the other unpleasing life. Wherever there needs to be a security, it means there is a person who is breaching it.
Sure.
Okay. So, uh, through your career or through into cybersecurity, there can be whether it can be a hacker or it can be somebody who's, there. It can be a person or it can be a Trojan horse or it can be anything for that matter. Okay. So, from your perspective, okay, what do you think gives somebody, a human being, okay, to disrupt a normal being? Means like what do you think? Why somebody is becoming a hacker? Why somebody wants to disrupt the normals?
Yeah, the term hacker is a very popular term in today's corporate world. But
Yes, because
how we'll have to understand the
for
hackers.
us, we only know that name. So,
Absolutely. You're so right. In fact, I would want to touch upon that topic. So if you look at the hackers mindset, right? It's all about the mindset. End of the day, be it a person in the professional world or
yes.
even the dark world as they call it, the
Mhm,
hackers.
mhm.
Almost 90 or 99% of the hackers are anonymous. That is the mindset with
Anonymous.
which
Okay.
they don't have an identity.
Right.
They don't have a digital identity. Their social presence is so abysmal, so to speak,
Mhm,
and they don't have a digital footprint. So it is extremely cumbersome and difficult to trace the origin of the hacker. That is why they get away with most of the fraudulent transactions that they perform, either through the stolen credit card data or even impersonating the identity of individuals. They get away quickly because they operate in a dark web. They are anonymous. They don't have a digital, even the physical presence is, you don't know where they operate from. So their mindset is quite dark and dingy. So
mhm.
if that is the case, to trace the origin of a hacker is difficult. That's why if you see many corporates, not many corporates, at least some of the corporates that I know of, you might have seen in the news, let's say ABC or whichever corporates that we are referring to, they got caught in a ransomware situation wherein an external entity, it could be an individual or an organization, which is operating from place XYZ or whichever place that they may be operating from, is demanding a ransom for the data which they have confiscated from the organization. And this data could be a client data or could be the organization's confidential information, which the hacker is threatening to put it in the public domain. So this is called ransomware, and they demand a huge ransom for retrieving the information or letting go of the information which they have confiscated in the process, and they get away with that ransom. And that's how many organizations are getting lost in the way that they're dealing with the hacker world. So potentially these people are dangerous. But nowadays we are having safe and secure practices with which many enterprises are functioning to protect their information,
So
to protect their data.
I understand. As a behavioral psychologist, I'm really interested on person. Okay.
Right,
So
right.
what, according to you,
Mhm.
is the reason why somebody is playing for the win? What, according to a hacker, is a win? Is it money, or is it like, I have destroyed CB's website? Okay, that gives. What is a win for them? Because you said that they are anonymous, they don't have social presence, their physical presence is very less, and you also said that like they op nobody knows from where they are operating from, and all
Right.
this. See, people like that, I am assuming their lifestyle will also be primitive. Okay,
Sure.
I'm just assuming because I have not seen a hacker. So I really wish he becomes my patient someday.
Mhm.
So so if their lifestyle is like that, okay. So what is their win? What is their ideal win? If
The
that
ideal
question
win
is,
is,
if their
I
question,
got your question. So the ideal win
perfect.
is they are so enthused about their profession of hacking and they're so passionate about what they're doing, just like any other person, right? They are just like any other human being, except for the fact that their intention is malefic and the intention is nefarious. So we can say that they always want to disrupt the outside world's order. They want to
My
disrupt the
question is
functioning of
why?
the why
What?
is for the pure pleasure of excelling in their craft because they're
Okay.
so good at what they're doing and they want to what to say hone their skills better and better and become better at what we're doing. So even in the corporate world, we call it this way, right? So the hacker is always an edge ahead of the cybersecurity professionals because it's only because of them the cybersecurity profession is thriving and they are always looking at ways to disrupt the system. So the cybersecurity professionals should always think like the hacker in terms of wanting to see what ways by which the loopholes can be created in the system. So it's like a constant battle between these two.
Ha,
The hacker's mindset.
you gave me my next question. Okay, if that is the case, now you are a hacker.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
what will you do? Means like now you say that cybersecurity has to always wear the hat of a hacker and then things like that. Okay,
Right.
now don't just wear the hat, put the entire dress and full costume of a hacker. Let's
Mhm,
say if we delete the cyber security professional of CB, and then if we give you the full rights hacking, profile of if there is a hacker CB, okay, what will you do, and how will be your thought process going into?
So initially, I would like to understand the psyche of the hacker, right? The mindset of the hacker. So this will actually help me understand the psyche and the mindset with which the hacker operates. So before
Perfect.
even
Take us
getting into the
through it. Yeah, take us through it. Take us
so
through
what I
your
will do is I
psyche.
will try to experience the life of a hacker and find out how good he or she is excelling at his craft. So I'll note down the points. I'll find out what he does to get into a network or get into a system or break into a network. And if the security people are good enough to prevent such happenings from occurring in the future. So side by side, I will take note of these points and find out how well we can become at our craft. And to become better at what we are doing, we need to be really conscious of our actions, and we need to ensure that we take the steps with a leap of faith, and also to ensure that we are protecting our systems and protecting our enterprises in the process.
Amazing. Amazing. So the ideal win as such per se is not something what I understand is purely defined. It actually varies between person to person and probably situation to situation. Okay, so extending that, but not from the hacker's perspective, but from our own perspective. That's where, as a psychology come into this thing. More I
Right.
hear from you, we
Mhm.
all are working like a hacker in our own life. Okay. So we literally say the words which we are not supposed to say. So we disrupt the system. And we literally do things which we are not supposed to do. Again, we disrupt the system. Okay. So let's not worry about the corporate world. Let's talk about the personal world. Was there a disruption of normality in CB's life? Where what was the hacker in CB's life which got you to the place that you are right now? This is the question which I wanted to do it. I wanted to create a situation and then put you into that. So, yeah,
So, especially in the year 2020, year 2020, I much during the pandemic time frame, I was hesitant to buy my first car. So it was a
right.
simple thing, like many people are owning cars these days. But the fact of the matter is, I never knew how to drive a car. So that was an interesting shift in my life. I stayed put for about 2 years. I didn't turn my attention towards my first car that I had purchased. Interestingly, one fine day, my son reached up to me and he said, "Dad, driving cars is not that difficult. You can do it." All that point in time, I was not conscious of the car that I had purchased. It was just lying in the garage. And every time I had wanted to take the car outside, I made use of a driver that I made arrangements for, and he used to drive the car. But the moment my son reached out to me and told me, even my daughter used to nudge me on wanting to drive the car and all that. So both my children were instrumental in motivating me to pick
So
up
they were
the.
the hackers.
They hacked into my brain. They literally hacked into my brain. They hacked my mindset and they changed my perspective completely. So that one day, which turned out to be the defining moment of my life, when I reached out to a driving school, not the driving school per se, a person whom I met
And
via Facebook, and he happened to be a very good coach in helping me learn the nuances of driving. I learned driving in less than no time, and after literally, I would say 6 years from then, I can proudly say that I'm an owner of a second car that I purchased, and I let go of my first car, and I'm so happy to take my car any point in time at this stage. So
perfect.
the real lesson is, as you rightly mentioned, hacking is everywhere. Maybe in a positive sense, it's a productivity hack that my children did to me. They instilled that sense of confidence which was already existing but was lying dormant. They awakened the sleeping giant within.
Okay. This word, the minute somebody tells this word called productivity, I ask them the same question. Maybe this is thousandth time I'm asking you. Because
Mhm.
I somehow I wouldn't use a word called hate, but I have kind of created some kind of disruption with this word called productivity. Okay, I'm not sure because it is being used wrongly, or I'm not sure whether it is. Uh, should human be that much productive?
Yeah, see, the human beings have to be productive to the extent where they are making full use of their abilities. So every person is unique.
I think maybe my question is wrong. Is productivity measured out of the outcome, or the productivity is measured out of the process?
It's more outcome defined,
Yeah,
Satish.
in that case, like I think we are almost going away from what we have been taught, right? So
Right.
productivity is basically if it is outcome based.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
my favored outcome may not be a favored outcome for somebody else. Okay,
Sure.
so if such situation happens, no matter what I do, I will remain in
Hmm.
the place which is not favorable.
100%.
Yeah. So now comes into the perspective of putting productivity the way it should be explained. If I probably ask CB to explain me productivity, what according to you is productivity, and why should we even think about productivity when we can just away concentrate only on the process?
The main reason the word productivity is being widely used is because to stress upon the fact that execution is key. So great things are started off with great sense of energy and excitement, but anything well begun is half done, as I always say.
Hmm,
So we start anything with full gusto and verve, with full enthusiasm,
hmm,
with full the spirit of confidence and courage that we start any initiative. But apparently, some things die out with time, or during the process of wanting to be consistent with what we're doing, whatever we are doing at that stage, we tend to fizzle out. We
hmm,
tend to slow down, or we don't reach the end objective. So
hmm.
I personally believe that the term productivity is directly in relation to the word execution. So if you are
Execution is
able to,
again a process, right?
execution is an outcome, right? So if you look at any activity,
Hmm.
if it is not completed, then it is not executed
Executed.
successfully.
I see. Okay.
I am actually alluding to that fact,
I
Satish.
see. Okay, okay. So in whatever means the podium matters, the end matters.
End
Uh,
result is always the best outcome.
End result is the always the best outcome. Very nicely said. Okay, perfect. Okay, see this is how I really like how Waycraft is going. We just take one step at a time and we go deeper and deeper and deeper. Now,
Mhm.
how much of productive mindset that you have, if you have to probably right now do an audit of yourself, and then I don't want to know how good CB is, that I already know. Okay, if I have to hear from you the critics of CB, okay, so that I want people who are seeing this can know that the inner journey can also be audited by themselves.
Right.
Okay. So if you can probably, how much ever transparent you want, you can be. Uh, if you probably want to do an inner audit of CB live on camera and then
Mhm.
give me like a top five or top three, top five critic of yourself. And then not just standing there, because you are an auditor turned cyber security professional. So auditor are not only pointing errors, but they should also give us a way out. Okay.
Right.
So just give us a critique.
So I think there are.
Okay, I'm so sorry to disturb. Uh, the main point is, end of it, you also give us a technique on how to introspect and critique.
Correct.
Yeah.
So top three things which I would critique is about my the way that I have structured and shaped my life, right? So the top three things which I can immediately recollect is first is around negotiation. The second is around pushing my limits, and the third is around execution. So the negotiation. Then the second is end objective,
Pushing your
keeping the
limits. Yeah.
pushing my limits. Third is to execute something successfully. Not to say that I'm not being fully successful in
Understood.
whatever I'm doing at this stage,
Yeah.
but I would audit myself on these three parameters.
Mhm.
So the reason why I'm saying this is because there have been stages in my life, professional and personal life, where I could have, I've always felt the hindsight that I could have negotiated better.
Mm-hmm.
If it had been a better situation where I could have negotiated a better deal, that could have resulted in a favorable or even a better outcome in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So the art of negotiation, the art of nudging myself to perform more or execute things in less than no time, and also to persevere more to push myself towards the execution stage, execution of any task at hand, and do it with a sense of courage and conviction, and do it with a spirit of enthusiasm so that I'll get it completed within the time limits. And
Oh,
reflecting, I could always look back at McKinsey's famous tagline, right? They say, underperform, I'm sorry, overperform and under promise and over deliver. That's the tagline I was trying to recollect. Under
right.
promise and over
Under
deliver.
promise and over deliver.
Right.
Okay.
So you always commit to a deadline, but when you're
Mm-hmm.
delivering it, you deliver it much well in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So the trick is to actually push your deadline a little further than where you can actually deliver.
Mm-hmm.
But the time you deliver will always be ahead of time. So this will help you
Absolutely.
win the customer's confidence and also get
Okay.
you the lot of the
Yeah, the
collaboration.
minute I asked this question, you were like this, you did it. Okay. So now give us a framework how you were able to, put this immediate audit structure in place. Okay. Let's say that now I will remove the person called CB out. Now
Hmm.
I want you to give me a framework,
Sure.
generic framework, which audience whoever is seeing this video or anywhere I'm going to talk or anywhere you are going to talk can probably create something like a framework where apply this, you will be able to look through your own inner journey, get the top three critics that, and then you, so that you can work on it. Is there a possibility of generalization of this so that it becomes easier? Frameworks are very easier to adopt, right?
Sure. So one of my management lectures that I attended sometime back, I think around 10, 15 years back, there was one interesting professor that came in and he taught us a very new framework that I was never exposed to at the stage. It's called the SCQR. S as in situation,
Mm-hmm.
C as in complication, Q
Mm-hmm.
as in questions, and R as in recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
He said without batting an eyelid that every time you're facing any situation in life, be it personal or professional, if you're able to box each of those categories that into these four parameters,
Mm-hmm.
situation, situation, complication,
Complication, question,
questions, and recommendation. What is
recommendation.
the situation that I am in right now? And how complicated is the situation? And what are the questions that I can ask myself to resolve the situation?
Okay.
And finally, I provide recommendations for that situation. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, if you go about doing this at every stage of your life, then you will become truly successful in whatever venture that you're heading into.
Perfect. SCQR, situation, complication, questions, and recommendation. I think very
Right.
easy to remember. Perfect. Okay. This indirectly pushes me to ask you those long form, research that we do for every single guest, which is in a way something like this, but from a psychology perspective.
Sure.
From a psychology, again, this I feel that the professor that you have meant, this is more or less from a corporate particular background, but we are now trying. We will ask. I will ask you seven questions. Okay.
Sure.
This is the same question which I ask offline, online, and to a lot of people. We are almost nearing 10,000 people right now. So,
Hmm.
and the only rule is give me answer whichever is coming to your mind objectively, not like a big sentence. Okay.
That.
Just few words so that we'll be able to write it in a bullet point. We call
Sure.
this as a human archive.
Hmm.
The reason why we are asking this question is because we want to understand when a person is being put onto a situation, what comes first. Okay. And then we are trying to map different ages, different profession, different gender, and then we are able to create a perception mapping. And
Right.
then the personality mapping. That's the
Hmm.
reason why the seven questions are being asked. If you are
Right.
ready, it's almost like a rapid fire. If you are ready,
Absolutely.
yeah. So the first question is, who are you? Okay. Who are you when nobody needs anything from you?
calm and composed human being.
Okay. Calm and composed human being. Right. Which part of yourself do people benefit from the most, but rarely notice?
I think the ability to overcome any difficulty with the sense of resilience. I think that's a hidden inner quality which only people will be able to experience only after they get acquainted with me better.
Understood. So, perfect. So, that's something which you provide them, but they rarely notice.
Like
Okay,
that's
great.
right.
So, I'm going to question number three. What became stronger in you because life hurt you?
I think the ability to overcome any difficulty and surmount them with full confidence is a quality that I have developed over time. That has come only with different experiences in life.
Okay, perfect. Let me go to question number four. What ordinary moment in your life?
Mhm.
Okay, it can be past, it can be what ordinary moment in your life feels extraordinary to you.
The fact that we are living today is one of the greatest achievement in the history of humanity. Not just me, it's for everybody who's alive today. For whatsoever reason that we might say, living the fact that we are living is the greatest gift by the universe to all of us. So that itself is
Fantastic
an
answer.
extraordinary moment to cherish and
Fantastic
realize.
answer. I'm so elated with that answer. Fantastic answer.
Thank you.
Okay. What, okay, next question. What silently disappeared from your life as you grew older?
As I grew older, I stopped thinking about what others will think about me because they are not thinking about what I am doing right now because they are
Yeah,
more worried about their situations in life.
yeah,
So unless you tell them, they will not be worried about it. So just forget about what others are thinking about you. Just move on with your life and do your stuff.
amazing. Okay. Next question. What kind of human connection do you think the world is starving for right now?
The world requires more grateful people. The world requires healers. We need more healers. And the world requires empathy. The world is needing more empathy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. My last question is this is something which is my favorite question. When everything else is removed,
Mhm.
who are you?
I am as humble as a blade of grass because I am here to serve people. And I like the concept of servant leadership. So if
Yeah,
you want to aspire to become a leader, you always must be ready to serve others.
yeah,
So the more humble you are, the more easier it is to serve others through the process of becoming a servant leader, as they would call it.
yeah.
I would always want to be in a position to serve others, serve people in whichever form that I can think of.
Yeah,
So
I
I
can
truly
give you a
believe in
very
that.
small nugget on that. People
Mhm.
actually think that the servant leadership is a new concept, but actually the servant leadership was taken from Plato's book. It was
Right.
written way long back.
Mhm.
In the name of modernization, a lot of other things came in. The
Right.
servant leadership is again coming back
Sure.
to the concept, and that is the end of my seven questions. And I'm really grateful that you answered it so well. And
Thank you.
I will remember this blade of grass. I think some of your some of your phrases landed so beautifully.
Thank
And
you.
I really have to thank you for that. This being said, I also said that, like during the course of this discussion,
Mhm.
because you said, like you started as a poet or something like that. Over a course of period, I also promised we will write a poem in this thing. So as you kept talking, I kept writing something. It may not be
Wow.
fully welled, fully
Mhm.
formed, poem or something like that, but we can
Mhm.
always do it. So
Improvise.
let me just give you a poetic introduction as if we are starting the program. Okay. So here comes it. It is like this. He guards the world we cannot see, a cyber shield for you and me.
Mhm.
With codes and clues, he finds the way, keeping threats and risks at bay. Yet beyond the screens and digital art lives a poet with a thoughtful heart.
Wow.
On the cricket field, he loves the game, playing with passion, not for fame. When challenges rise, storms appear, resilience becomes his strongest gear. A leap of faith once changed his story into cybersecurity's world of glory. Today, we welcome a mind so bright who blends logic, courage, and insight.
Incredible and mind blowing, Satish.
This is
Awesome. Great
this
writer.
is what I was able to just scribble it out. Maybe
Mhm.
right, may not be right.
Thank you
I
so
don't.
much.
Yeah.
Truly great.
So it's 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 a privilege. It's an honor to talk to you, and I can definitely say that every guest is special in some way.
Like,
Uh, Person who is actually going to see this, I always call WayCraft episode as an investment. Okay. The reason is people who are going to see this, specifically the Gen Z crowd. Okay.
mhm.
There will be a situation where they may need some reference points to take and learn. And I tell each and every guest, I tell the audience also, I tell everybody saying, WayCraft show is an investment not for the viewers of today.
Like,
My viewers will start only after 5 or 7 years. Okay.
wow.
And that's where they will start because they are running directionless because everything is now easy for them to access.
True.
And after a point in time, they will hit the wall.
Mm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, speed matters than the strategy. So they have the speed right now, they don't have the strategy. So Waycraft is an investment to give them the life strategy to understand how people, how guests like you, how beautifully you have structured your life to do what you are doing right now. This may not be your final destination. You may probably have some more versions of CB to go through. Okay. So with that, I always really happy that you are here. I always thank the guests for sharing their vulnerability, okay, and their journey in front of the camera. It takes a magnanimous heart, a kind heart to do that. So with that, CB, your closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Satish. It was truly a delight to interact with you. It brought out the best insights from my head, and I was able to reflect on my past experience and also recall my cricketing days and also my poetry writing days. And your finishing note with an excellent poem also made it really amazing. So I am truly privileged to be part of your podcast, and it's an absolute honor to be here. Thank you so much for the
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Thank you so much. And I would like to end this show by giving you the entire gratitude and thankfulness. And
Thank
as
you.
you always close, always be happy, always be healthy, always be loving, and always be smiling, and be like a blade of grass.
Absolutely. Here's wishing
Yeah.
you the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care. Cheers.
Bye bye.